Hi, I'm Dr. Lloyd Corder. Welcome to week 11 of Nonverbal Communication. This is our video overview of the week's material and a few key concepts. This week's topic focuses on time, and I've also grouped social media in here as well. And so two very interesting topics. A lot of people might not think right off the bat that time has really, how is that a nonverbal variable? Well, what's very interesting about time is it communicates all sorts of things. For example, if you keep somebody waiting, who's more important, the person that's waiting or the person that's keeping them waiting? Do you wait for your doctor, or does your doctor wait for you? Usually the person of higher status is the one that people are going to wait for. So, when the president comes in, president of the United States or whomever comes in the room, they're usually the last one to come in. Everybody else is ready, it's ready to go. They're not the first one there getting the chairs together, so on and so forth. So the higher status, the more that communicates with time. Some other things that are interesting. If you look at time and our perception of time, it changes as we grow older. One of the things we found is that a year's time in a 4-year-old's life is 1/4 of their time. A year's time in a 50-year-old's life is a small fraction. So people will say, boy, it seems like the years just fly by, or the time just flies by. That's because our perception of that time is constantly changing. And so there are a lot of topics like this throughout the chapter and in the materials and the discussion points we'll be using. The other one, which is social media, I've grouped in here because I think it's a very interesting new phenomenon that we're all using. And a lot of people will say that it's a new channel of communicating, but it's very, very difficult to communicate that way because there's some impacts with our nonverbals. I'll give you a perfect example. There's an article that's in this week's session called "Don't Be a Dumb App" that I wrote. And it's a pet peeve that I have, and many of my clients and friends have this same pet peeve. And what it is, it has to deal with your smartphone. And what happens is people seem to be tethered to this smartphone, and they go into a meeting, and I'm meeting with you, but I'm busy messing around with somebody else on this smartphone. I'm texting, I'm carrying on, I'm checking my email, I'm going on and on and on to the point that I'm not paying attention to you. Or I'm not paying as much attention to you as I possibly could. And what ends up happening is that we end up dismissing that person, and we communicate to them, you're not as valuable to me as whoever it is I'm talking to out here on this thing. And so you have to ask yourself, is that what you really want to be communicating? Or do you want to not be a dumb app, as I say in the article, and perhaps profoundly change someone? It's simple. Turn your phone off, or don't use it, or turn it down, put it away. Concentrate 100% on that person and be in that moment and be in that conversation. It's not an easy thing to do. This is a very alluring distraction, but it's something that if you get good at it, there are so many other people that will just mess around with their phone. You can really stand out, you can really be different, and you can really be powerful. Now, another thing I've been thinking of is this whole concept, and you may be familiar with some of these, of emoticons. What are emoticons? These are all of those little symbols that you might use when communicating with someone. And here's the way, smiley face, you got a little, this little signal, it might be on your phone, or you might type that in here, and this one in Facebook makes a smiley face. I don't know how you are, but a lot of these emoticons don't work all that well. What do you have? Somebody smiling with 2 more exclamations, so they're really, really happy, or somebody who's frowning or whatever. It's trying to replace this whole concept of nonverbal. And I think it brings up a very interesting, unique set of challenges. There's an article that you'll read about a young lady that used all these emoticons, made it seem like everything was great. She was texting with mom, and later she committed suicide. She wasn't so great. Things were being hidden and it would have been totally obvious if someone had seen that person in real life that something was wrong and that she was masking something. Another thing I'm wondering, what about with text messaging? A lot of people text all of the time. What do you do with text messaging? Is it perfunctory, where it's, I'll meet you at this time, or I'm running late, or I'm this and that? It's just like a quick, fast, easy communication? Or could it become something profound? Could it become a love letter, for example? Could you have relationships with folks that are deeply emotional and profound, and you're doing it through text messaging? And how is that different than if you were in face-to-face communication or online, social media, some other way? What is the difference, and what are the nuances? So these are some of the many things that social media and the whole concept of time and all of this really does change in terms of nonverbal. It's where we're going to be focused this week. As always, we're going to try to have a lot of fun, a lot of insight, a lot of great discussion. Until next week, have a great week. Thank you.